and welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with...
Sean.
Chris.
And a shouting cat, and he's disappeared.
No, it wasn't me. I'm here. Flood's disappeared. No, I said Chris.
We just heard Dizzy
There
shouting.
he
I
is.
think that... Oh, professional as
Flawless
always.
Flawless start.
That was amazing. Oh,
We've replaced Chris with Dizzy.
I said Chris. So,
I heard a Chris.
We didn't hear Lee, we just heard a cat. So, how
you know
are...
that it's in between. Oh, well.
Oh, right. How are we all this week?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, present, solid.
Yeah, good.
Right, let's not forget, it's Rowie Seek, if you're Mercedes. Rawseek.
Ah, now that is taking the piss out of Ferrari, who did exactly the same thing last time out.
Did they?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Rawseek is.
I don't get it.
Ferrari somehow signed off on that poster design where race was in one half of the poster and week was in the other.
Basically,
But
Ferrari...
when you read it from left to right, it said Rawseek.
Yeah, they forgot people read in lines rather than blocks for some reason.
So Mercedes decided to take the piss totally out of Ferrari and copied their poster.
When you realise Ferrari are the butt of the joke, it becomes funny.
Now that works. So on this week's Rawseek special, anyone fancy doing one for Portuguese Grand Prix? No, let's not bother. Yeah, we're back to Portimao this week.
It produced a good race last year, didn't it?
It did, and I think the potential's there for it to happen again now that the order's been shaken up a little bit, and you know cars are working properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even Alpine scoring points.
Yeah. I mean, it was one thing that was kind of missed a little bit in last week's review of Imola was just how much Mercedes have or had improved from Bahrain
Has he gone again?
to Imola. I know they're two totally different circuits, but they seem to have just whatever work they've done to that car between Bahrain and Imola worked.
I mean, one other thing that was missed from last week was your thoughts on Toto.
That wasn't missing.
I don't think anyone caught them.
No, that wasn't missing. Although I have done a little bit more research as well and read a few more articles thanks to some lovely listeners, including Kieran Thompson. Just basically just backing up exactly what I said last week. And thank you, everybody, for your very kind messages of support. I got a lot of support from last week's podcast.
I'm just happy nobody got excited at the fact that I pointed out that Ferrari now have two Felipe Masses.
Oh, I'm sure we did
Nobody
see
was
some
angry with
commentary
that
about that.
at all.
I think some people were angry with that, Lee.
Tweet your thoughts to at a total.
Someone was angry, but their grammar was impeccable.
Yes.
It was amazing. But, that's the thing, though. Like people don't like the truth.
You only have a fleeting relationship with it.
Absolutely. The same with sanity, if we're honest.
Should we do the bits of Monday news first? Because there was a big one today. The sprint races are definitely happening, and they are a thing. It's going to be at 3 rounds. It will be at Silverstone, Monza, and a flyaway race yet to be confirmed. Now, everyone was thinking it was going to be Brazil, but we still don't know if there's going to be a Brazilian Grand Prix this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So it will be a flyaway. Could be Suzuka.
Could be.
But the format would appear to be for the weekend. Friday morning, a 1-hour FP1. Friday afternoon, qualifying as we currently know it, that happens on a Saturday afternoon. Saturday morning, 1-hour FP2. And then Saturday afternoon, a 100k sprint race with a choice of 2 of the 3 sets of tyres.
Oh. FP2 after qualifying seems an interesting manoeuvre.
Yeah, and it's also going to be Parc Ferme after Friday afternoon qualifying.
Oh.
So that's like
So-
the old warm-up.
So, right, what I don't get is, and it's probably dead easy. I don't get it because I haven't done any research. Does the sprint race decide the grid for the feature race?
Yes, and the qualifying decides the grid for the sprint
Right.
race.
I have a problem.
Right,
with
that's how I thought it would be.
it. Yeah, I do have a problem with it though.
Go for it.
Why
Qualifying?
did Toto like it?
No, not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
So your problem.
Qualifying as it is a pretty qualifying as it is pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It's not as
But if it's
exciting
on
as a
Friday-
race.
No. But if it's on a Friday afternoon, most of us aren't going to be able to see it because that's during the week where we would normally not be that bothered about missing FP2. We're going to miss a qualifying session. It just seems a bit, there's going to be fewer eyes on that qualifying session to then have a sprint race on the Saturday. I'm not sure that's the right way of doing it, but I mean, it's worth a go, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, looking at it that way, I would have thought 2 1-hour practice sessions on a Friday, qualifying Saturday morning when FP3 would have been,
That would be the way I would do
Yeah,
it, but
and
I'm
then-
not in charge.
and then the sprint race in the afternoon.
But is qualifying taking place of one of the free practices, or like taking part in the free practice?
Well, the qualifying session will be when FP2 is now.
Yeah. So it's the issue with doing it any other way would be that you're adding another session again, aren't you? It's so when all the cost cutting and stuff is being talked about, you're adding another practice session if you don't do it this way.
Well, why not have 2 1-hour practice sessions on a Friday, and then have the qualifying for the sprint race on Saturday morning instead of FP3?
Because the sprint race is instead of FP3.
Oh yeah, you could, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
do
what would
think,
make
yeah.
sense to me because you're then having fewer eyes on what is now the current qualifying format, which I think is entertaining in its own right, but at the same time to trying to draw new eyes to the sport. So I do understand why they might go this way.
That's the only thing I'd argue with. That's the only thing I'd argue against it. If it was pulling the numbers, they wouldn't be wanting to do that.
Yeah.
So qualifying clearly isn't pulling the numbers that they want to pull in. I personally, I don't know if you get this at all, but I'll watch qualifying on Saturday, and especially if it's dead exciting, and then I'll get a bit sad because I just want the race rather than to wait for the race on Sunday. So to me, I'm more interested in seeing a sprint race on a Saturday than I am a qualifying on a Saturday.
Why not be greedy and want both on Saturday?
Oh yeah, no, both would be grand, but I'm very excited for the sprint races. That's the main take. The only thing I wish they'd have done, which I don't think would have flown if it had to be a unanimous decision, I wish they'd done the the F2 thing where the top 8 in the sprint race are reverse order in the feature race. The reverse grid pole.
Yeah,
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah,
rather than the way
yeah.
they've
I wish that.
rather than the way they've done F2 this season with
Oh, F2 this season is confusing as
you
hell.
qualify on Saturday for. Sorry, you qualify on
You qualify
Friday
for the feature race, and then the qualifying top 10 is reversed for the first sprint race, and then there's a reverse grid for the second sprint race. And then for the third race, they go back to the
how
first qualifying. Very confusing, bit hard.
Yeah,
work.
I don't understand it.
No.
I was confused because at first I thought they were just running both races on the same day, and I thought that's a fucking great idea. Do that. Fuck the Porsche Super Cups and just have 2 GP2 races and or F2 races. That's great.
I don't think
And then
anyone is
on
arguing with
Sunday,
fuck the Porsche Super Cup.
yeah. And then on Sunday, there was another race. And I was thinking, hang on a second, I'm sure I watched 2 races yesterday.
I mean, it's. I think it's all experimental this
Yeah,
season with
we
everything.
may get used to it as it goes on. You never know, but yeah, at first time of watching,
Contrived
confusing.
comes to mind.
I mean, nobody
The
used to.
tyres is interesting, though, isn't it? The tyres, how they were going to work. So they have to use 5 sets of soft tyres for what is the current qualifying format, but then they've got tyres for the sprint race, and then they only allowed 2 compounds for the actual Grand Prix on the Sunday. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yeah, let's have. So not Friday PM. This is from Autosport. Normal qualifying format in the afternoon with 5 sets of softs.
Yeah, so everyone's on soft tyres, basically.
Yeah. Saturday morning, 1 hour FP2 session with 1 set of tyres for teams to choose from. So I guess Saturday morning you're just going to be running on 1 compound, but you can choose which one it is. And then sprint race, 100-kilometre sprint qualifying race in the afternoon with 2 sets of tyres for teams to choose from. And then Sunday, full distance Grand Prix with 2 remaining sets of tyres.
So whichever one you use in the sprint, you don't use in the feature.
Possibly.
If it's the 2 remaining tyres.
Yeah, but the sprint race isn't. It's not like there's no pit stops. Is there in the sprint race?
I imagine not.
It's not like a compulsory single pit stop or anything.
No, if it's like 14, 15 laps, you're not going to be pitting.
No,
unless you break something.
I think they've made 2 sets of tyres available just in case.
No, that's for the actual Grand Prix, isn't it?
No, that's for the sprint race.
2 compounds of tyres
Sunday.
for the feature, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the point situation?
Oh, Christ.
This is fun.
3, 2, 1 for the top 3 in the sprint. That's it.
Jesus.
Right. Is that? Oh, hang on a second. I'm confused at what we're even talking about. Is that Formula 1 or F2?
Formula 1. We've just been talking about Formula 1. We still don't understand the way that F2 works.
Right. So that's Formula 1.
Yeah.
It's only the podium places that get points.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 points for first, 2 for second, and 1 for third.
But the whole thing
I
is
like
for
it. It's a
grid.
It's a good idea. Yeah,
But there's
it's a good
no
idea.
podium, though, is there, for the sprint race?
Oh,
The podium is only on the Sunday.
I'm sure there'll be a Pirelli teeny tiny tyre or something.
Yeah, I like it. It's because it doesn't devalue the Grand Prix. It's a smart move.
And it gives you something to aim for as well on the Saturday.
Yeah. It's a clear divide between someone that's won a sprint race and a Grand Prix winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wonder if they'll have a different championship as well if they implement it full time, like a
The
sprint race championship. Yeah, and an actual, just what I mean is like a separate sprint race championship.
A Saturday championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's not stupid.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they'd work that one. But of course, with Parc Fermé now being from Friday afternoon, what we'll see running on track from Saturday morning onwards is cars in race trim.
Yeah, pretty much, which is weird.
There'll be some limited changes allowed. A small number of components can be swapped out, and the weight distribution of the car may be altered. But they can only change the power unit and gearbox cooling if there's a 10 degrees centigrade or Celsius change between Friday's qualifying and Saturday's sprint.
Interesting. Okay. Because surely, because conditions change as well, don't they, between Saturdays and Sundays? I would imagine in some safety cases they would be allowed certain changes to be made. Like Pirelli change the tyre pressures occasionally, don't they? Between a Saturday and a Sunday, if Saturday's particularly cold and Sunday's really warm and sunny, then Pirelli might go, "Oh, actually, we need to adjust the PSI then in that case by like 2 or 3."
Yeah,
So
and
the cars may have to have the same thing as well.
yeah, and I think that would still be the case now, because I think they can make small cooling changes if there's if the change in temperature or humidity warrants it. I mean, Parc Fermé isn't as Fermé as it could be.
No,
Yeah.
it is Fermé, but the door is ajar.
Firmish.
I like that. Parc Fermish.
Park Firmish.
I think we went there. It's in Barcelona, isn't it?
Possibly.
Isn't that how you rent a cheap flat?
I don't know. We live on the Isle of Man. There isn't such a thing.
No, that's a very, very good point.
So I think pretty much we're all in favour of this. I know, Lee, you've been wanting this for a while.
Team sprint race since 2005.
Yeah, I'm in favour of trying it. Not necessarily all in just yet, but I'm in favour of needing to try something new, especially to get newer, younger fans, a new generation of fans involved in the sport. Because otherwise, the dinosaurs will die, and not to go off on a massive tangent, but if we go on to biofuels and then they fail, in a few years' time, where does that leave Formula One? But if there's a younger generation watching, that gives them the impetus to then think about maybe a longer term plan.
I think it's good as well to see it being tried, like you say, to be tried out at 3 quite different tracks to sort of get that idea of how it would work if it was rolled out year wide.
Yeah. I just hope things like this now, because social media has such a big impact on things. I really wish that people that are in charge stopped looking at social media, because we've time and time again we see how it's not a real reflection of how many people think something. And it's there's a group of people ready to complain about everything now. I'm sure the same people, if this sprint race hadn't have gone through, the same people that are on the internet right now complaining about it would have been on complaining about the fact it didn't go through. So if you do feel the need to go and complain about sprint races on social media, I suggest you masturbate and look at yourself in the mirror.
Or tweet your thoughts to @total_shunt.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that while you masturbate and look in the mirror as well if you want. I can tell you how pathetic you are as much as that will.
Christ, mate, total back. Say what you think. Moving swiftly on, Suzuka has signed for 3 more years.
It is 3 more years, which is good. I think Suzuka is usually quite a lively race, so we like to see it on the calendar. I think it was one of the ones. Was it the year? It didn't happen last year, did it? So it would have been the year before. I think we got quite close to Suzuka, and it didn't have a contract, and there was this little asterisk next to it on the calendar, and it was a bit of a concern. But yeah, all seems well.
Yeah, because of course it's Honda that own the circuit, and with them pulling out of F1 directly, they could have taken the bat and ball home with them. And
yes, they could have done, and decided not to let Formula One there. But I mean, there's been a staple of Formula One now, isn't it? Since, is it the 60s, the first Formula One race at Suzuka?
87.
I thought it was older than that in Formula One.
The first Japanese Grand Prix was at Fuji in 76.
Oh, okay. I thought that Suzuka had been hosting Formula One races a lot longer than that.
Just gonna look.
You're
just
doubting your research now.
No. I mean, I'm sure you're right. I mean, it's just that it's just, to me, it just seems like it's one of those circuits. It's classic. So to me, it's always been there. But I didn't start watching F1 until the early 90s. So that's why I think it's always been there, probably.
Yeah, no, it's hosted the Japanese Grand Prix for most years, except for 2007 and 2008, since 1987.
There you go then. You were absolutely spot on.
I love that. That's happened forever. When did you start watching? Yesterday. Yeah.
That's happened as long as I've known.
That's always been that way since I've been watching it.
I mean, it was originally built by Honda as a test track, which is why it's got a variety of different corners, straights, and complexes in.
I'm surprised it hasn't pulled out of Formula One on its own accord.
Yeah, it has. 2007 and 2008.
What was the year where they had where we had to have the qualifying on the Saturday because of the
You mean on the Sunday?
Sorry, yeah, qualifying on the Sunday, yeah, because of the hurricane on the typhoon as they call it on the Saturday, wasn't there? That was interesting because it was that was like one of those things. Maybe they could look at doing that, moving the sprint race to the Sunday and keeping the qualifying on the Saturday.
Importing a typhoon.
No, don't import typhoon. No, just this isn't Bernie vision anymore. Listen, lads, we've got a great idea. Forget sprinklers.
I am in favour.
Yeah, Bernie sat there in his Biggin Hill secret underground lair with his weather control machine,
which he definitely has.
Well, I thought it was if
your wings, butterfly.
I thought it was if a butterfly flaps its wings in the Amazon, then typhoon happens over here or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
If a butterfly flaps its wings in Biggin Hill, then Suzuka's in trouble.
See, the problem I've got with that is, have you seen how many fucking butterflies there are sometimes?
No.
Like, is that what propels the world forward through the cosmos? Is butterfly power? If going by that little anecdote.
I think it's more philosophical than
actual.
So literal, yeah.
Well, no, the butterfly effect can't be philosophical because it starred Ashton Kutcher and he doesn't do philosophy.
A couple of years ago, I was on Marine Drive having a walk, and there was lots of butterflies. And I took
was it?
I took a couple of pictures of the butterflies, and then when I was scrolling through Instagram afterwards, I saw that whichever one of the Chuckle brothers isn't dead had also been on Marine Drive taking pictures of the same butterflies.
So if a butterfly flaps its wings, it goes to me, to you.
Yes.
Do you know what? Now I'm going to have to tell this. I like one of the Chuckle brothers. Great, you know how
dead one or alive one? We need to clarify.
I could probably be referred to as having a slightly dark sense of humour at times.
Only slightly.
Whichever one is the breathing Chuckle brother. He put a tweet up once. It was like 2 years after the other Chuckle brother stopped breathing, and he just put a selfie up when he was sat. He was sat in a room which had 2 single beds in. And it was just a picture of him in this room on his own, going, "It's not the same without you, Barry." And I found it fucking hilarious, and I felt terrible for it.
The Jacques.
It's like you think the listeners are not going to be enthralled by this talk of the dead Chuckle brother.
Bearing in mind, most of our listeners are in America and have probably never heard of the Chuckle Brothers.
Well, that'll be a Googling experience for them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They were apparently comedians. So they're apparently comedians. So I like to think that they would see the humour in the situation. Maybe.
So back to Suzuka.
Yes.
I don't think.
Yes, quite.
I don't think there's much more to cover with it.
Do we think? I notice as you're scrolling down the story there is a picture of Yuki Tsunoda. Do we think that's why Japan is so excitable at the moment?
Well, he's also owned by Honda, isn't he? So
that's very true.
I think that's...
They're always excitable. Have you not seen anime?
Well, somebody's tried to sign up to an anime streaming service with my email address.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't me. It definitely wasn't me.
Carry on.
As far as my liking of anime goes, I've seen Akira. And
Good. It's
I'm done.
Is it technically anime? Isn't manga and anime different?
I haven't got a clue. It's
because
it's a Japanese cartoon. You know, all I know about Japanese animation is Akira and GeForce Battle of the Planets.
people jump around going yaka. I don't like it. No, I'm sure. I liked Akira. I liked like Ghost in the Shell and stuff like that when I was a kid. But yeah, I think it's technically different because I don't remember anime being a thing. I remember manga being a thing when I was a kid.
One is probably a subcategory of the other, but I don't know enough to.
Oh, the subcategory.
Take a guess.
From what I can tell, there's like cats in school uniform and tentacle porn.
Yeah, there's lots of tentacles.
Yeah, right. Cartoons.
Do you know why?
Cartoons.
Do you know
for me,
why there's tentacles?
This should be good.
The reason there's tentacles is because they're not allowed to show erect penises on Japanese television.
That is a thing, isn't
So
it?
they
do
replaced.
have. I don't think it's just erect penises. Is it not like all genitals are a no-no?
Or maybe, it might be. But that's where they
and pubes.
Pubes are banned in Japan.
Yeah.
I do know this.
Well, we've covered.
I think
some
female
material
genitalia is
here.
okay.
As long as it's
Unpubed.
unpubed.
Yeah.
Japanese Grand Prix back then.
We've got to go off on these tangents while we're not doing the Patreon shows, just so as...
So if you don't subscribe to the Patreon show, once we get back to doing that as a separate going concern, then this is what you're missing out on. Talk of the Chuckle Brothers and Japanese pubes.
I feel like I should go on another Toto rant to pull this podcast back to Formula One.
I thought you were going to say, I feel like I should go for a wash.
I usually tend to feel like that after every podcast we've recorded.
I definitely do after I've watched anime. Anyway.
I'll stick to Dogtanian and the Three Musker Hounds.
Just quickly out of interest, before we move along, was it at least Crunchyroll they tried to sign up to on your email address? It wasn't like some sort of crazy anime thing no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, Crunchyroll rings a bell. I actually had to look.
Right.
I actually had to look up what it was because I didn't have a bloody clue.
Yeah, no, you watch enough ASMR videos, those people whispering in your ear talk about Crunchyroll and anime at some point.
As I've never watched an ASMR video or listened to one in my life, I haven't got a bloody idea. We get a box of Japanese Kit Kats and other assorted treats sent to us every month.
That's true. No crunchy rolls in
No
there.
crunchy rolls though.
Oh,
But we have
I
had cheesecake and strawberry Kit Kats.
Yes.
I had Japanese food on Saturday night. It was for a podcast, which will be on the Mussy Audio YouTube channel as soon as my Mac comes and I've edited 2.5 hours of footage. But I thought I was going to be sick. I've never eaten such horrible food in my entire life. The seaweed stuff, and I'm good with food. I'm good with trying new things. And then there was Mexican stuff we had, and that we had some fruit in that I can't remember, but I remember I think it was called like tangolin, something like that. I started calling it pangolin. Yeah, I know I started calling it pangolin for hilarity, but that is the worst flavour I've ever eaten. The worst flavour.
Oh, we had plum vinegar crisps the other week. Sean, you weren't keen on them, were you?
No, they were just vinegar. There was no plum involved.
I've got to admit, they tasted like salt and vinegar without the salt.
They were nasty.
Although the mackerel flavour crisps were
tasty.
They were nice.
Mackerel flavour crisps? I'm intrigued.
We decided that we needed to be half drunk to try them.
So we got
But
half drunk.
once we'd got drunk and tried them, they were actually very pleasant.
It was like mackerel roysters.
I'm out.
In other news, the Japanese Grand Prix.
These are snacks that you may be able to purchase at the
We've
Japanese Grand Prix.
still got the white chocolate coated Pringles.
Yeah, they might be interesting.
Ooh. Frips are nice, maybe.
So, AlphaTauri. They have said that they are not changing their plans for work on the 2022 car, even though they're looking like top 5 contenders for this year. So they are going to cut off development of this
Makes
car
sense.
at some point.
It makes sense for them, doesn't
any
it?
other year, it will be a case of no, keep doing it. But with next year being the complete lottery, it is. I think they're making a sensible move.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're making a sensible move, but at the moment as well, we'll have to see how long this goes on for. But you've got to say their drivers are squandering a good car at the minute.
I wouldn't say they were squandering it. I mean, Tsunoda was rookie mistake after rookie mistake.
Yeah, he'd have been higher up if he hadn't spun.
Yeah, so which is a squander.
Yeah.
The
Gasly
team squandered Gasly's
felt-
race.
Yeah, it came back to him, though. It came back to him.
It came back to him, but he wasn't where he should have been, even in qualifying. I mean, where we think that car could be like up there with the McLarens and the Ferraris, but it seems to still be in the same place we expect.
Gasly qualified 4th, 5th.
I think he was 5th.
Yeah, no, but he didn't finish there.
No, because the team gave him the wrong tyres.
Yeah, but they only did that because he dropped back, and they were trying to they were trying to like strategize him into a better position.
They
They started him on the wet, didn't they?
Yeah, everybody else started on inters. He started on
they
wets.
did start on
Yeah.
wets, didn't they?
And the reason,
Sorry,
the
that
reason,
was a stupid move for them.
And the reason why he went backwards was because there wasn't enough rain to make the wets worthwhile, and the inters were in the zone.
Well, the only thing to say there then is obviously it's not just the drivers that are squandering the car; it's the team. You know, unless it was a move from Mercedes, a move from Red Bull to get some data on the tires.
You would possibly do that when you were getting towards the change, wouldn't you? But you wouldn't start someone on a controversial tyre.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll say I don't expect a lot. I expect them. You know, like what happened with Racing Point last year, where they did well. They did well in some races, but ultimately they didn't get what they should have got out of that car. I've got a funny feeling that that's going to be Toro Rosso this year.
Don't have to wear a face mask at work from tomorrow.
Oh, right.
Sorry, I just got very distracted by my work email.
For anyone that hasn't been paying attention, the Isle of Man has lifted just about all the restrictions. We still can't go anywhere, but...
Well,
Next week, innit, apparently?
Saturday.
You can come here from
Saturday.
Saturday. You can't just like freely come and go to and fro.
Are they removing the not removing but lessening the isolation to 7 days?
To 10 days for some, to 7 for some people coming over. So if you've got like family or partners or
A house.
I think there is some kind of test and release or test and relax after 7 days.
Yeah, it's test on the last day, isn't it?
Yes, and if you test negative, you are free.
Seems fair.
Good.
So, Portuguese Grand Prix and Suzuki.
Yes.
Second F1 race at the Algarve circuit, to give it its official title. Last year was a good race, but Lewis had the second largest winning margin of the season.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
It was good from sort of for the points, wasn't it? The points race was quite good. The who's going to get the big cup at the end, not so much.
Yeah, the greasy circuit as well, because it wasn't freshly tarmacked.
It
just
was.
before last year's race, and then all the it rained lightly like an hour before the race or something.
It was
and
freshly tarmacked, and they hadn't, after tarmacking it, screwed all the drain covers back in, which was something they discovered in FP3.
That's right.
And then qualifying was massively delayed because they had to spend about an hour going around and shaking every individual grate to see if it moved, and a few of them did, which was fun.
Yeah, and then Carlos Sainz took the lead on the first lap.
Oh yes, he did, didn't he? And was Kimi second at some point, or was
wasn't it? Kimi did this massive run from, let's see, when Kimi qualified in 16th, and he got up to something like 5th.
Yes.
I think, yeah, and it was. I'm pretty sure it was a McLaren 1-2 for a few seconds, and then Hamilton came back at them. But yeah, I remember thinking from the race last year that Portimao seems like a decent circuit to have Formula One on. Estoril obviously held the Portuguese Grand Prix for many years. That circuit is now, I don't even know if it's still in use, but Portimao seems like a great circuit. Lots of undulation, changes in elevation, sweeping corners, pretty challenging track. It's not an old school circuit, but it's got the feel of an old school circuit, which, as I said with Imola last week, it produces usually pretty good racing.
Estoril is still in use. It held the World Superbikes finale last year.
It did.
Well, that's good.
And it does. And it does have FIA Grade 1 certification.
So it could.
So they could go there.
Yeah.
Handy to know.
It only got dropped from the calendar in '97 because the government and the owners and the promoters were arguing over who should provide the improvements. But it's turned out over the next 23 years that someone did.
Yeah, fair enough. As I say, I seem to remember the Portuguese Grand Prix at Estoril being pretty good as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Estoril itself is
He's disappeared.
Tiny little fishing village. It's kind of like having a Grand Prix in Eel.
Yeah, they used to do that with go-karts, though.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, Estoril is pretty small. A population of 26,000.
Yeah, so it's just like
so
it's
a
like
bit bigger
having
than Peel.
It's bigger than the town has a population of 26,000 and the capacity of the Estoril circuit is 45,000.
Christ.
They need visitors.
So we could be looking at another good race. The circuit itself is pretty similar to Barcelona.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, in terms of layout,
I would say. But let me just pull the full circuit details up. I'm not sure about the. I've lost my bloody page now. I'm not sure about the sort of height changes in there if they're the same as they are in Spain. Because the downhill sections in Spain can cause the occasional problems, especially when they stick a bloody downhill chicane.
They get a lot of crosswinds as well, I think, don't they, at Barcelona?
Yeah, well, there's plenty of undulation at Portimao, isn't there? So,
yeah, I think overall, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the overall sort of height difference is less than it is at Spain. It's not something like Sebring where it's dead flat and you can see one side to the other without straining. But yeah, we should be. I think we should be in for a good race. There's some decent overtaking spots in there, and fast and technical sections. Are we going to stick our necks out and make any predictions?
It's we're going to have to, aren't we, for the predictions?
Which I still haven't put on the website yet from Bahrain.
Yeah, you need to do some work.
I will have 3 to put on.
Yeah, I think. We probably should make some predictions, but I'm going to say that Red Bull are going to absolutely smash Portimao this year.
I think from what we saw last year with Sainz leading early as well, I think assuming the sort of the front runners want to be starting on the medium tyre, there's a chance for someone who qualifies well but starts on the soft to get themselves in the mix early on. Someone in a sort of a McLaren or a Renault, someone of that ilk.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I reckon Perez is going to have his first good race in a Red Bull, like his first real decent race, and
First solid race all the way through, rather than just in bits.
yeah. Just say, well, that's it. You only need one bad bit to ruin your whole weekend, don't you? But I'll say Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton as a top three.
No, you're really going for Red Bull doing good.
That is strong.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Right. Anybody else want to
I
have
will
a go?
also go for Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas. Slightly more boring from myself, I'm afraid. But in getting there in an interesting fashion.
All right, Lee, on the back of your 9-pointer from last time out.
Oof.
Perez, Lando.
I was going to ask where Lando featured.
Well, to be fair, he's gone fourth and then third, so the natural progression is to be second.
Ricardo.
That sounds like an exciting race, in fairness. I would quite like to see that race.
I'm going to...
Only because I think we saw in turn one, like Hamilton and Verstappen coming together, and I can't remember who it was. I think it might... Who is your man that did the... is the Jordan guy, the Jordan designer that's on the race podcast?
Gary Anderson?
Gary Anderson, yeah. He pointed out the other week that he thinks Lewis and Verstappen are so evenly matched in talent-wise, and the cars are going to be so evenly matched through the season. He said very quickly we're going to enter a position where if one of those people are going to be overtaken, they would prefer to crash with their opponent than have their opponent beat them.
Oh, at some point they're
So I think you're
definitely going to come together.
Verstappen. Yeah, I think you're going to see Lewis and Verstappen coming together a lot.
Turn 3, Barcelona.
And potentially on track fisticuffs afterwards. Verstappen is a hothead.
I think
he'll be up for the fight.
Verstappen would slap the taste out of Hamilton's mouth, I think.
Seen his clothing.
I do.
Seen his clothing range. He doesn't have a great deal.
Yeah. he'd knock him back into a normal pair of jeans.
Well, I'm going to go for a Verstappen win, Hamilton second, and Perez third. So we shall see how that goes. If you want to put your own predictions in, go to the website, go to the game section, and the 2021 Prediction League is up there. Top 3, pole position, fastest lap, number of non-classified races, that's DNFs and DNSs, and also whether there'll be a safety car or not. We're 2 from 2 this season.
Did anyone go for Bottas?
I went for Bottas as a third.
Okay. Interesting that, isn't it?
What, Bottas in general? Not very much.
How all of a sudden Bottas has just totally fallen off the radar.
Well, qualifying last time and battling for 9th
He
place
has
with
been
a Williams.
thoroughly average so far. I'm just going on the strength of how dominant Mercedes were there last year, that it might be a Mercedes track and that might be good for him.
And how far behind Bottas was in Bahrain as well. Just, I don't know.
We will see.
I mean, Bottas was 25.5 seconds behind Hamilton at the checkered flag last year, and Verstappen was only 9 seconds behind Bottas.
In fairness, I've got Verstappen ahead of Bottas this time.
Now, the Red Bull is this year's Red Bull is better than last year's Red Bull in comparison with this year's and last year's Mercedes. If Bottas is still of a similar gap behind Hamilton, he could be looking at 5th or 6th.
Be interesting. We shall see.
I think it's too much for Bottas. I'll probably get some hate from Bottas fans here.
Do we have Bottas fans?
So I got some hate
exist?
last week from Bottas fans. Yeah,
Are they
I
a
got
thing?
some hate last
Really?
week.
I draw energy from it. It's fine. But I just don't think he's. I don't think he's capable of hanging with the people that are around him now, because I think you've got better drivers like Lando and Ricardo when he gets his head around the McLaren. I think you've got better drivers that. Oh, and the two Massas. I think they're better than Bottas. But he's got more drivers around him that are better than him. And he's got pressure from losing his seat, which he probably will do at the end of the year. And I don't think he can cope with that without it destroying him. Because we've seen every year, haven't we? Every year he's been, this year I'm a better Bottas. This year I've done this or that. And he never has it. It never comes to anything. So I don't see how, when he's got a dominant car and only Lewis Hamilton to beat, I don't see how he can have a good season when he's got other cars to beat.
If the two Massas are better than Bottas, does that make Bottas Fisichella?
Ooh.
I think Fisichella was better than Bottas.
Ooh.
Bloody hell. I think we'll see Bottas in a Williams next year. Straight swap.
I think he could definitely end up
I think
somewhere
Fisichella
else.
I think Fisichella was better than Leclerc.
Oh, this is getting very controversial.
You think Max Chilton's better than Leclerc?
Now.
I think we'll see Lance Stroll in a Mercedes before we see George Russell and
He'll just buy it.
We did see Lance Stroll in a Mercedes last year in 2019's Mercedes.
We saw George Half in a Mercedes last weekend.
Unfortunately, it was the left half.
yeah, he was doing the Indiana Jones jump, wasn't he? Mid-race.
It's not exactly sporting, but I feel if it wasn't for the halo, he'd be in the Mercedes this weekend.
If you want to follow the race along with us, obviously, I'll definitely be on Discord on the chat all over the weekend. Chris, you'll probably turn up at some point, and Lee, you'll be in the pub.
I never go to the pub. Why to watch the race? No, I don't like watching the race in the pub.
There's too much other noise, isn't there? If you're trying to actually watch any sporting event in the pub, too many other people making a racket.
Yeah, I like commentary. So no, I'll be sat at home with me phone in my hand doing the tweets and the things.
But yeah, we'll be about. Have a look on the website for the link to the Discord if you want to join in with the chat. We'll be there. Right, probably even though we're only sort of 40 some minutes in total shunt time. But before we shunt tonight,
we must be at least 50 minutes in.
48.
That's practically 50.
Yeah. Before we do, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that was involved with the Three Legs, Four Wheels, Only Fools and Horsepower team for the 24 Hours of Nürburgring on iRacing this weekend. There was 6 of us in the race. There was myself, James, Alex, Nick, my mind's gone blank, Stephen and Nelson. And a big shout out to Adam for designing the car, and everyone that jumped onto the Discord on the chat to keep us going. Jane, Matt, Phil, and anyone else that I've missed, I apologise, but I buggered off to a barbecue at Secret Agent Dan's headquarters for a few hours while it was going on. And we came 22nd out of 54 starters. So we didn't...
Which is good. Decent.
We didn't massively suck. And, talking of iRacing, cast your minds back to last year, and we had the first Three Legs, Four Wheels race. We did the not the Indy 500. Well, it was not the Indy 250. We're doing it again on iRacing this year, and it's going to be on the Sunday the 23rd, which is the same day as the Monaco Grand Prix, 7:30 p.m. UK time. So it's well after the Monaco Grand Prix is finished. And if anybody wants to join in, drop us a line, give us a shout on social media, and I'll let you know how you can join in with us. It was a really good one last year, even if there were some drivers not entering into the spirit of iRacing fully and using a PlayStation controller to try and get a car around the track. Carl Ford, I am talking to you. But if you want to take part, it's completely free to enter. There's no prizes. Just doing it for a laugh, and let us know. And we're also looking at a charity iRacing event coming up at the end of May as well. More details on that one next week. Right, I'll get off my soapbox now. Lee, you got a shunt?
I'm ready.
Cool. Who's this week's shuntist?
There's no...
Oh, a mystery
There's
shunt.
no proper name. His Twitter name is Minton W. I don't know if that's your real name, and it's not separated, so I wouldn't even know how to say that with my human tongue. But you know who you are, because I said to you, give me a ping and remind me to use your shunt, and I'll use it. And lo and behold, he sent me a message today saying, ping!
Would this be
yeah.
Minton W8 on Twitter?
No, just Minton W.
The original.
No, at Minton W8.
I don't know what the at is. I can't see the at to PM.
Oh, right, yeah. I think I've
So-
got him here. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'm
That's
guessing
not the game we're playing, though.
No, but
Find
I'm-
the guy on Twitter.
No,
It's not
I'm
the end of
thinking
the
it's
game.
somebody called W Minton. I don't know. Something just tells me.
Yes, it is Minton W8.
And he's that young.
You only have
He's that young. People probably call him Chippy, and he doesn't understand why.
Yeah, he looks a bit like Albin. He does. He looks a little bit like Albin. And he's got 20 followers as well, so that's probably about the same as Albin. Maybe it's Albin.
Let's have a clue.
I was born
Yay.
in 1921.
Probably not Albin.
Right.
100 years old.
I have 11 F1 wins. I feel that clue is written purposefully misleadingly.
I have 11 F1 wins.
Yeah, but I'm not going to correct it because it might make it slightly too obvious. But I'm just going to say I think that's a little bit dirty
Excellent.
play. That's a yellow that in my eyes.
Interesting.
Okay.
I am respected by 12 million people.
It's a very odd number for measuring respect.
It's about the right age for Bernie, but it's way too many people respecting him.
And too much victory. What do we reckon to a track?
Yeah.
A track that has hosted 11 times.
Yeah, something like
Someone like Magny Core, for example.
I think that's
Interesting.
I think that's had more than 11, but I was thinking France as well, maybe Dijon.
Oh.
You possibly, yeah. Or, is Dijon's not the same as Clermont-Ferrand, is it?
No, because one's in Dijon, the other's in Clermont-Ferrand.
Yeah, but I know where Dijon is, but I haven't got a clue where Clermont-Ferrand is. And we've got tiny
I'm
little
not
towns.
up on
and-
Clermont-Ferrand.
Have you never been there?
No.
It's mustard, mate.
Yellow and occasionally has seeds in it.
Hang on, is it French mustard, American mustard, or English mustard?
I would guess it's French mustard.
Then it's rubbish.
It is. Dijon mustard is rubbish. I can even take a bit of American mustard. If it's not English mustard, you're doing it wrong.
American mustard goes on burgers, and English mustard
And
goes
hot
on everything
dogs.
else. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and hot dogs, yeah. And English mustard goes on everything else.
Whole grain mustard goes in mashed potato.
You see, now you're getting a bit close to
Maybe.
Dijon there.
Whole grain mustard on a nice ham sandwich.
Yeah, whole grain mustard in a ham glaze.
English mustard.
Yes, we have found uses for whole
I
grain
once
mustard. But are we going for Clermont-Ferrand?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Which
because
is
we're not doing who's a total mustard, are we? So
no, that is true. That's next week's quiz.
I once put so much mustard on a sandwich by accident
Is
that
this a
when I
clue?
bit into it, the top of my head hurt.
I like it when the mustard gas makes your nose pop.
sign of good wasabi when you can smell your own brain.
Yeah.
I like that.
Anyway, clue 4.
Clue 4. I have been in Formula One since 1925.
When you were just 4
When
years
Paul
old.
was butter boy.
That's a lie because Formula One didn't start till 1950.
It was Grand Prix racing back then.
Strictly, yes. So yeah, I think we're ruling out
I'll
a
allow
person. Since they would have been 4.
I was actually born. I was actually born again. I think this is slightly misleading words. I was actually born in 1830, but overhauled into my current state in 1921, as previously mentioned.
Originally born in what year?
18 something.
1830, when Paul was butter baby.
Right, okay.
Peugeot.
We're definitely going for all the French stuff
Are they won
tonight,
Formula
aren't
One
we?
races?
I'll give you one hint that isn't on it. It's not a person.
I think we'd got
I
that
think we've
bit,
got that bit.
but thank you.
Clue
Don't
6.
mention it. There is a statue of me in Brussels. That clue confuses me, and I'm reading them.
Christ.
Right, okay.
So a statue, not of a person.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be wrong. I've been to Brussels twice, and that confuses me.
I mean, the only statue-y type object I know in Brussels is the atomium.
I would not get hung up on that. In fact, I think me saying I've been twice is a bit of a clue. But so that's probably a better clue than clue 6.
Which is what?
Anything, Flood. That us talking about mustard was a better clue than clue 6.
So, I mean, presumably when Lee has been to Brussels, it has been on his way to Spa, potentially.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Spa?
No, because Spa's changed since 1921.
That is true. Be a bloody big statue, wouldn't it?
It would a bit.
I almost want it to be a statue now, just for the sheer abstractness of it.
Would you like number 7? I'm going to word it slightly. No. In fact, fuck it. I'm going to say it as it's put.
The authentic shunt.
Again,
Are we skipping the guess for clue 6 because we're all completely clueless?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
We've not ruled out mustard yet, have we?
Are you the bull on the Coleman's mustard packet? There we go.
I have finished on the podium 50 times. Now, I would imagine that either appeared might be a better word for it than
Are we talking
finished.
about a champagne, perhaps?
Interesting.
Could be.
Because they used to use mum and now they use something else, or do they still use mum?
No, I think they've gone back to mum and they used.
Then it went back to Chandon, and now they're on
Chandon, that's correct,
Ferrari
yeah.
sparkling wine. I mean, obviously, for it to be a champagne.
No, I think they've signed a deal with Moe. Or Mum. Is it Mum? Is that one?
No,
Something
it's not champagne this season.
Oh, is it not? I
No.
thought they'd signed a new thing with. With one of the ones beginning
Well,
with
the
M.
one, the one in
the last
the one in Imola was that not to do with the Made in Italy Grand Prix?
Oh, it could could be. Because the
And
last
they won't have had it at Bahrain
Yeah.
because Bahrain don't do the champagne.
and nobody drank it because we're using still rose water instead of the fizzy stuff.
Ooh, nasty.
That's why nobody was pouring it as well, because it was like sugar.
Nope.
The last one they used was carbon.
So hang on a second. Is there no champagne at all this year?
No, I'm sure there is.
I think it's sparkling wine. We'll look that up at the end, but let's. Oh shit! Yes, it is carbon. The atomium is a
Is it an atom of carbon?
it's a carbon atom and carbon champagne.
And it didn't
Is it
last.
Belgian?
It
Well,
didn't
no, it
last
can't be.
very long.
It's from France because you can't. It's got to come from Champagne.
But the atom.
Of course.
You're saying the atom is not directly linked to
I was
the
in
champagne.
Brussels.
You're a sprout.
I'm just trying to pull you back onto the tracks here.
Next clue. I'm Ron Burgundy.
I am likely to only feature once this year. That's a good clue. Well done. I like that clue. That makes sense.
The Belgian flag.
That is interesting.
You can give me a guess. Give me the second guess now, and then we'll do the next two, and then you can give me a third.
The Belgian,
wanna go with
Belgian
that?
flag.
Verstappen's helmet.
Number 9. I am trilingual.
Belgium in general.
Could be. I
Or
feel like,
Switzerland.
I don't know. I feel like.
I'm
Sorry, go on. I was going to say
Sorry.
Switzerland. I don't think would have featured
no.
50 times.
Look, Belgium's
No, there
trilingual,
is.
isn't it? It's Flemish, Walloon, and German.
Is it German? I
Yeah.
didn't think they had German there.
Yeah.
I think Switzerland actually has 4 languages, I think. But anyway, carry on.
Last question, last clue, even. Sorry. I feature in a number of sports and cultural situations, not just Formula One.
Cultural situations. What the fuck are they?
The ambassador's party where the Ferrero Rocher gets divvied out.
The entire country of Switzerland.
I'm still thinking Belgium. Is there a Spaffer?
Nope. But I, as I've been reading these, I am flicking through Twitter at the same time, because I always do that just to see if any Formula One stuff comes up. And an advertisement for Inside Chernobyl with Ben Fogel has propped up. And now I hope it's just a survival program, and they dropped him in like 3 weeks ago.
This is no dark tourism documentary. Equipped with
One
only
man, 6 arms. Who will survive?
equipped with only a Geiger counter and a bottle of Mars milkshake, Ben Fogel tries to escape.
Mars milkshake's fucking awesome, though.
It can be. It can be.
Not had it for ages.
Not had a Mars milkshake for ages, yeah.
Um,
Well, this has
Sidetracked.
distracted us a little.
I reckon it's just Belgium.
Belgium.
I mean, I don't think it is, but I can't think of anything better.
I am trilingual.
I mean, the only
Okay,
thing
that-
I can
that
think
was
of that's trilingual is Nico Rosberg, but I don't think he's been around in his current format since 1921.
No, but I'm think of like speaky words and stuff.
Trilingual. I am 3 languages.
Oh, what are you doing to the telly, you twat?
That was the cat, not me.
Are you going to give me a guess? Let's end this pain, and my pain. He gets his, I would say, questionable victory
Can we just say Belgium?
Yeah, why not?
Are you Belgium?
I am Belgium's national anthem.
Oh.
That was close. There's a statue of a national anthem in Brussels.
Yeah, how is that a thing?
Exactly.
Wait, hang on a second. Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah, that's why I didn't just let it go.
I can't audio bring the Belgian national anthem in my head. And I know I've heard it quite recently because Wales played Belgium.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Trying to make a sculpture of a national anthem is like trying to remember a taste. It doesn't work.
I'm looking to see if I can find it, but
I don't think I'd know it if I fell over it.
Rosberg will have it somewhere.
Yeah, Rosberg will have it somewhere.
yeah, I've got to admit I have never heard the Belgian national anthem, and it's stuck in my mind.
I've heard the Belgian national anthem probably about 4 or 5 years ago when Stoffel van Dorn.
That sounds like about 3 national anthems being played at once.
Yes, so that's, you know what, 3 national anthems played at once.
It's a bit sort of
You've
fairgroundy.
no idea how many people just stopped listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I just
And they
shat
stopped.
myself.
They stopped listening to it by throwing their phones away.
You reckon people survived the mustard but gave up at the playing of the Belgian national anthem?
That was the Rosbergian
Yeah.
national
was it?
anthem. That was Rosbergia.
Was it?
Absolutely.
It sounded semi-real.
No, that was Rosbergia.
That's how little I would recognise the Belgian national anthem. That's what I assumed you were reaching for there.
Or the Rosbergian one, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, I don't think I was involved in the podcast when that was a thing.
Well, yeah, greatest hits episode. We've had Jacques and we've had Rosbergia.
I'm going to Google how can you make a statue of a national anthem.
I want to see the statue of the national anthem.
And while Chris does that, Lee, tell people how they can send in a total shunt.
You can tweet me in a PM at a total shunt, or you can send me a PM on Instagram at a total shunt.
And you can also send ones for the reserve list for when Lee checks himself into sheltered accommodation for the temporarily bewildered after tonight by sending it to 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. You can also get us on that email address with anything else, quips, comments, questions. We might as well start doing a mailbag in future shows as well. So if you got anything for the mailbag, send it into that address. Get us on social media at 3legs4wheels at Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And individually, our Twitter handles are
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
and at Pablo100. Have you found how to build a national anthem statue
It's
yet?
basically
Yes,
a
there
woman.
is yeah, correct. Charlton, the same as me. We have found the monument for the anthem, which is what it's actually called, but it's a woman basically just
with some lyrics.
well, she's holding a flagpole of a flag that doesn't look very Belgian. It's just kind of plain.
It's hard to do colours in a statue, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that a statue of a... Oh, hang on, there are some translated lyrics. Worthy children of the Low Country, whom a fine passion has aroused, to your patriotic fervour, great successes lie in store.
It sounds like things from Lord of the Rings, dear children of the Low Country.
It does. Do you know what? The lyrics actually go on forever, so I'm never going to read all of them.
As long as the second verse
Rap them, Flood. Rap them.
As long as the second verse starts, "Hail, hail, Rosbergia," we're all happy. If you want to get early
I'm
access,
glad that went Rosbergia's way.
if you want to get early access to the show, God knows why you'd want to, but and you don't subscribe already, you can go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels. Sign up from as little as $1, £1, or €1 a month. Everything that you
Pay for your porn.
everything that you donate goes towards keeping the podcast on the air and possibly buying some mustard. We will be back next week if we're allowed. When it's a double show next week because we're on back-to-back races. Yeah,
Preview.
it's a preview and review because we'll be reviewing Portugal and, if I am not mistaken, previewing Spain.
Correct.
I can't get
Is it that time already?
It is Spain.
It is Spain already. At the start of the European season when all the upgrade. Oh, hang on. We'll be around on the socials all the way through the week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Say Steve.
Dave.
Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Bye bye. I'm going for a lie down.
Bye.
Stay in a safe state.
Bye bye.
Bye.